that is why just now I used the simile of the ocean and the mind, and I'm saying that most people, we just use the surface of the mind, and because we use the surface of the mind, we only know the world of the six senses. That's the only world we know, the world of the six senses, and we think that's all there is to this world. But this is not the only world. When we go deep inside us, then we know there's another world inside us. And this inner world, when we go into, you find slowly the outer world slowly disappears. And then you might realize that the outer world is a creation of the mind. It is created by consciousness. The Buddha says that the world exists dependent on consciousness. This is something ordinary people find it very hard to realize, because all you know is the world of the six senses. You don't know another world within. So when you know only the world of the six senses, you think that the world is very real, it's very solid. I can touch this chair. How can you say it's a dream? It's not a dream. It's a solid chair. So like you see, okay, suppose now I ask you, where is the world? How do you know there's a world? Then you will have to answer, you know there is a world because you see the world, right? You see the things in the world. You hear the sounds in the world. You smell the smells in the world. You taste the taste in the world. And you can touch things in the world. So you say the world is real to you. And if we examine these five senses which make up the outer world, most people, we think that the eye, the two physical eyes see the world, right? But you examine again. That's why Buddhism is very interesting, because it tells you not to take things for granted. Examine everything, investigate. Don't see things as they seem to be. We always see things the way they seem to be because firstly, we don't consider properly. Secondly, there are five hindrances covering us, which make it difficult to see these things as they really are. So coming back to this seeing, we say we see the world with our eyes. Now, if we consider, suppose you went for an operation and you remove these two eyes, you put the two eyes on the table for 10 seconds and you ask the eye to see the world. Boleh nampak tak? Cannot, isn't it? So it is not the eyes that see the world, because if the eyes can see the world, and you take out the two eyes, the eyes should be able to see the world. The eyes only help us to see, just like the spectacles help you to see, right? Now, we can think again when we go to sleep. When we go to sleep and we are dreaming, we see a world which, when we are dreaming, is real as it is now. As real as it is now. That's why when we are dreaming, we become very excited, very scared and all that, especially if we dream of ghosts and all that. It's only when you wake up then you realize it's a dream. So in the dream, you see things exactly as you see now, without using your eyes, right? Which shows you don't need the eyes to see. So what is it that makes you see? It's the seeing consciousness. When the seeing consciousness arises, you see. And this seeing consciousness is not that reliable as you think, For example, you consider a person who is lost in the desert. He's hungry and thirsty and he's dying in the desert. He's walking and trying to reach land where there is water. He's hoping to come across a place where there is a lake and there are trees where he can take a rest. So because the desire to see this oasis in the desert is so strong that the mind conjures up a mirage. As he's walking, he sees a mirage in front of him. And he believes that that is real. And he keeps on walking and walking. When he reaches that place, there is no oasis. It was just a mirage created by the mind. Which shows that what you see is not all that reliable. It is conjured by the mind. And what determines what you see depends on your karma. So before I come to that, so the world of the five senses is not the way we think it is, It's not as real as we think it is. It is all dependent on the seeing consciousness, the hearing consciousness, smelling consciousness, taste and touch consciousness. And the Buddha said, this consciousness arises dependent on two conditions. For example, the seeing consciousness. Seeing consciousness arises when you have a good eye. That's the first condition. The second condition is something, some form, some object comes before your eye. And then because of these two conditions, the seeing consciousness arises. And when the seeing consciousness arises and you pay attention, then you see. So the same with hearing. When a sound comes, the sound must come first. And then you have a good ear. And because of these two, the hearing consciousness arises. And you pay attention and you hear. But you don't pay attention, you might not hear, For example, you're absorbed reading a book. And your mother is calling you behind. You don't know. Or somebody is walking behind you also, you don't know because you're absorbed in that book. So, the Buddha said, the world exists dependent on consciousness. That's why in Buddhism, the mind is all important. We have to know the working of the mind. We have to go deep into the mind to understand ourselves.